Another Saturday live stream here on the Jazz Mental YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be taking a look at the iconic tune from Sound of Music called My Favorite Things. Great time of year to be talking about this tune. A lot of people actually associate it with the holidays, and I'm not sure whether you're going to be getting your favorite things for Christmas, but that's the tune we're going to be discussing today, and we're going to have some fun doing it, talking about the key of E minor. For those of you that aren't familiar at all with the tune, it basically goes like this. It's in 3/4 swing. And let's let that stand as the sound check for today. So if you can hear my voice and you can hear the piano clearly, please write it in the comments. Somebody mentioned last week that the piano wasn't quite loud enough, so you're going to have to turn it up on your end because we're trying to avoid feedback. So if somebody could give me some feedback right now on the piano sound, I'd really appreciate that. Some of the things that we're going to be discussing are line cliches, blues scales, chordal voicings, and rhythm. I think if you pack all of those things together, there's a lot of knowledge in all of those discussions so that we can learn something of value today, which is what we try to do here on the Jazz Mental YouTube channel. I want to start off today by basically sharing a link, and that link is going to be, and I want everybody to mark your calendars for this, because if you're not doing anything on December the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we've got the 7th annual Jazz Piano Christmas Concert, which is simulcast to Zoom and YouTube. I'm going to put the link in the chat area right now. I'm not going to pin it because I'm going to share the sheet music momentarily. Thank you all for the feedback on the sound. I appreciate that. Dave and yeah, there you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just a quick shout out to many of you from what we call the deeply committed crowd. I notice a lot of you here from week to week, and I appreciate you showing up. It really makes my day. Just a quick hello from Amadeo in Rome, and got Ben in Boston, Moody in Brooklyn, Steve from Rochester, Shell from Detroit, Dave from Somerset, UK, and Rich from Hawaii. Nice to see you here as usual. Thanks for coming. Hello. What do we got? Terry from Southern California. Got likes the Scottish accent. Thanks, Moody. Esther here from Maine. I'm not going to get to all of you, but hey, that's where we hang out in the chat area. So any questions that you have today, you can share them, and I will get to all of them as much as I can as soon as we get down to business. Just grab the link for the Christmas concert. Again, even if you sign up, you're going to get links to either attending in Zoom, so we can converse with each other in real time, or YouTube. It's up to you, but you have to sign up in order to get those links. So there you go. It's in the chat area. Thanks for your attention to that matter. Let's talk about the sheet music for today. I'm going to put the download link and pin it to the top of the chat. I have to grab the link because I put the other one first. Let's see if that works. If somebody could test that, make sure that the download works okay. I pinned it to the top of the chat. Let me click the link myself. Let's see if it goes to the right place. Yep, it does. An email address is all you need to download today's sheet music. It is a full arrangement, by the way, of the tune we're talking about today, which is My Favorite Things. I think I have it ready to go here. Yeah, there you go. So basically, you've got both hands involved. We're going to talk about this arrangement a bit. I'll scroll down. It's like 3 pages. And then on the last page is today's masterclass insider's deal, which is actually super cool. One of the bonuses for today's masterclass insiders is one of the transcriptions from today. I'm going to have PJ work on either the first play or the second play, which I'm going to do momentarily. And so that's going to be like a $30 value added on top. I'm trying to really get that Christmas sheet music book out there. It's like 61 pages or 62 pages of transcriptions. And for those of you that have already purchased it, thanks for supporting the channel. It really helps us out here. And what else did I have to do before I get down to business? Oh, yes, end reveal. So stick around to the end. For those of you that have to go, that's fine, I suppose. But if you miss the ending, we're going to talk about my favorite E minor. I don't know why it says minor. Maybe I can change that. Give me a second. Minor. There we go. E minor double stop jazz riff. So for those of you that don't know what double stops are, it's basically playing 2 notes at the same time. And we're going to talk about my favorite minor jazz riff, especially for the key of E minor. So this is something that you can use on any tune that's in E minor. And you can also play it in other keys as well. It works just as well in A minor. Just the way the hand falls on the piano, it doesn't work in all keys, but definitely E minor, A minor, even D minor would be useful for. All right, so that's what we got to stick around to the end for. Let's start off with playing the tune. The arrangement that I've given you to download is very similar to what I'm about to play, obviously without the improvisation. But what I want you to listen for, and the learning for today, like I said, is the line cliches off the top, the swing rhythms, which is basically jazz waltz. It's obviously in 3/4 time. There's going to be some chordal voicings, left-hand chordal voicings, a la Coltrane era. And obviously Coltrane being probably the most prominent player to make this tune popular in the jazz world. Nobody had really done it before that, so it was pretty iconic when he did it back in the early 60s. And then also I want you to listen for blues, because whenever playing minor, it gives us a lot more opportunity to use things like blues scales, blues riffs, things like that. So that's what I want you to listen for. I'm going to shut the vocal mic off just so we don't have any feedback or anything, and then let's play the tune. Yeah, so just reading some of the comments while I was finishing up the tune there. Glad you all got your chart download. I'm so grateful that you were able to grab that. Hopefully no one had any website delays. We actually changed servers this week, so hopefully things are a little bit faster for you. Some comments like nice arrangement, download worked, enthralling use of force. Hope you'll comment on how. Yes, I will comment on that. It's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today. And maybe when to consider using them in a minor key, and maybe if there's any special improv ideas with force. Yes, there of course are. So why don't we actually start there and just answer that question, and then we'll get to the sheet music. So one of the things that I talk about pretty regularly, and Rich, thanks for the kudos, I appreciate that. One of the things I talk about regularly is the use of force, and a fairly simple formula. If you've been hanging out with us on Saturdays, you'll have got this formula before. So maybe just a quick review for those of you that are already familiar with it. If in the key of E minor, you take a regular scale, which is the key of G. So E minor is the relative minor of G major. So we take a scale. That's the scale. So one more time. It's just a G major scale, right? Except we're starting on E minor. So you have one sharp. So the formula is basically this. All I do, and it's so simple, I don't know why more people don't know this, but it is simple. So instead of voicing in irregular thirds, like this, or like this, or like this, you know, E minor voiced in thirds, which is pretty typical. But it's very tonal. But as soon as you start to do it in fours, so let's do from the scale, right? Let's go up the scale in four. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our fours. So the first one is a perfect fourth, and the second one is a perfect fourth. And then all you do is you go up the scale like this in fours. So we're just going to go up the scale. And we're back to the top. And the reason why that sounds great, listen to it compared to this. Versus this. It's a much more modern sound and a much more hollow sound. So that's all the formula is. I mean, you can do that for pretty much any key. Like, let's say if we were in C minor. Or actually A flat. And then we were to do it there. It's a very cool sound. And so what you do, instead of comping in thirds, you comp in fourths, like this. And you'll notice I'm just kind of going back and forth between this chord, and then maybe this chord. And you don't even need to use 3 notes, you can just use 2. Still sounds quite hollow, right? Yeah, that's the way McCoy did it. Thank you for pointing that out, Robert. What McCoy would do is he'd throw down a fifth in the bass, like this, and then play that. Playing inside, playing outside, a little bit of McCoy there for some fun. And I appreciate you pointing that out, Robert. It's absolutely true. In fact, in my early days of playing, that's where I got those ideas from, directly from McCoy Tyner. So the initial question was, how do you use force? I hope that answered it. Let me know if you need any corroborating information or extra information to help you with that. But it's a fairly simple formula. And Moody asks, hey, Paul, I just started working on force, left hand comping as well as both left hand and yes, regarding the koi. So a little bit more about that. You have to be careful with them too, because it's a very modern sound. So if you started applying that to a regular sort of tonal sound, it wouldn't quite work very well. You can step into it a little bit, but notice what I'm doing with my right hand. Also playing kind of like force, very modal type playing. Which is a very, like I say, modal sound. If you try to play a more sort of traditional swing style, it might not work really well. So for example, I mean, it kind of works, but you have to be very careful with it. Okay. Alan says, great explanation on force. I don't think there is another explanation. I suppose you could come at it from a different perspective, but that's the easiest way to think about it, is to just take the scale and separate the notes by fourth intervals. Right? I don't see that as being that difficult. All right, let's go to the sheet music. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is, because it's such a great tune, how many of you agree that it's a great tune? I would like to hear your thoughts on it. If you have a history with this tune, if you've played it in a live situation before, or you just like the sound of music, I'm not sure. Obviously, there's a couple of iconic tunes from Sound of Music. There's this one, which is a great way to start reharmonizing, right? Or whatever the reharm you're going to apply to it, but basically doe, a deer, a female deer, which doesn't get played a lot in the jazz world because it's such a kind of hokey tune. But anyway, those are the two main iconic tunes from the Sound of Music. Let's put the sheet music on the screen. And then if we need to make a screenshot, we can do that. But let's start here. Oh, what happened to my PDF? Oh, I just have to scroll back. There you go. All right, my favorite things. Okay. So take a look at the first 4 bars. The thing that I really like about this, and I'm not sure, I haven't really heard anybody else do it like that, but I'm running this line cliche. So it's E minor to E minor major 7th to E minor 7 to E minor 6th. And if you actually, you know, put those notes on top, but you put them on the bottom, it's a different sound. And then you just play the melody along with it. And it works really well, and I'll tell you why, because the next chord is C. So we ended off on an E minor 6th chord with the C sharp in the bass, and then the next is a half step down, which is C minor. Now the thing about the C major chord is you have to think about it like still in the key of G. So there's a F sharp. So basically it's D over C, like this. And keep the melody going from that perspective, right? So let's play the 10th in the left hand and then a D major chord in the right. Okay? So when you get there, let's do it again. And this is D over C. right? And then sometimes what I'll do, actually, you know what? I'm going to take a screenshot because I need to be a little bit more specific. What I sometimes do is here, and I don't do it every time, but I like, you know me, I like passing chords. So when I get to here, instead of playing this, I'll just throw in a B flat 7 chord because it's a half step, like a B flat 7. Let's go sharp 11. So from the C, beginning of the line. Because, why the sharp 11? Because this is the melody note here. It's an E natural. And you get this sound, which very cool, right? And it's a lovely passing chord. One of the things that I'd like to point out as well, and let me make sure, yes, you can see this. Okay. Check the melody from here to here. Almost everyone I hear play this, especially jazz musicians, they barely get it right. To me, it's so important as a melody to keep it correct. And it's actually not normal melody lines, because normally it would be, and that doesn't work like that. So what it is, and you really have to get that right. It's very important. So make sure that when you learn melodies to tunes like this, you keep them in their original form, because any reharmonization that you do is not going to work nearly as well if the melody is not perfect or not recognizable. One more time from the top. And I like it up the octave here. It's a nice sound. Also, you'll notice in my playing for tunes like this, I like to put in some grace notes. So what I'll do is I'll just put a little grace note there, like that. Let's do the 2-5. Which is kind of nice, right? Or you can go B flat 7. And then if you scroll down a bit to the G chord, I like these triads. This is a very Bill Evans sound. Now, what you could do is you could use full triads like this. It's a nice sound too. It's a little difficult to do though. So that's why I just put in thirds. Or like Bill Evans, full triads. Start on an E minor triad here. Nice sound, right? And that's just triads from the scale. Okay? And then it just repeats at B section, it's the same. And then C section is this. So this is an opportunity now to use really big chords. So I actually should take a screenshot of this. Take that one down. Full screen. There we go. So you can see at C, you've still got like a D major chord here on top, but you're really putting this big 10th in the bass and then the D chord with like a D6th chord right here. Really learn these voicings. These are actually McCoy-Tyner voicings. Beautiful, right? So up until that point, we've been sort of like keeping them pretty thin, right? Big voicings, and they sound pretty cool too. Let's check in and see if there's any questions about this. Oh, looks like I'm a little bit behind. Some anecdotes that I asked for about the tune. Got to see McCoy perform it live at a jazz festival. Very cool. You were doing backline for the festival. Excellent. On what instrument? That would be interesting to learn. And then, as you said, 1/4 and E and A, F sharp and B can be quite sufficient. Yes, I mean, you can just use fourths, just rather than 3 notes, just 2 notes. That's what you're talking about, right? Okay. Robert says, I've played a couple of times live. It blew my mind when I first heard it. What was that sound? I had to find out. Yeah, it's infectious for sure. Great tune, but can be overplayed. Yes, I agree with that. It can definitely be overplayed, but I don't think we're overplaying it in this scenario. So yeah. What else we got here? My grandmother used to play and sing this tune. I wonder if she did it like this. If you apply numerals to the chords, do you think in minor or relative major? No, I mean, if you're in minor key, I'm thinking in minor. Major, I mean, the scales are the same, more or less. The bebop scales are different, but the scales more or less are the same. The basic scales. Bebops are, like I said, different. So I'm thinking in minor for sure. Unless, of course, because the tune does dip into G major, and then at that point, I'm thinking G major here. And then it gets back to minor in. Okay, so yes, definitely for most of it, I'm thinking in major. Rich says, harmony is minor modal sound to major circle of fifths. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of 2/5s in here, so circle of fifths is definitely appropriate. Suzanne, apropos Bill Evans' triads, what a good way to practice these to put them into standards only by chromatic form. Only by chromatic form? Not sure I understand what that last part means. Maybe you could clarify that a little bit. Suzanne, I'd appreciate that. Put them into standards only by chromatic form. Not sure. Paul, can you discuss what you did for the intro? I don't remember what I did for the intro. What did I do? I think I just played the arrangement more or less like it is, which is... there's force in here like this, right? So instead of just playing the melody note, I might have used some force in the right hand. And then just a 2/5 of A minor. That difficult melody again, right? And then I'm just playing like rubato, right? bit of retard, slowing down, right? I might have done that, which is an A7 with a 13 here, and then falling to become the sharp 5. And then I did this riff on G, right? G to D sus. Where I get that rhythm from, by the way, and I did want to talk briefly about that, is if you actually go to this, you know, the Charlie Brown thing, which goes... The riff is, the rhythm that I use for the riff is the same. So it's like this. And then if we apply it to this tune, it's like this. Right? Jazz waltz, exactly. Hope that answers that question. Probably, if you're looking for very specific ideas from the introduction, you can definitely be more specific with your question so that I can nail it on the head. But as a general overview of what I did, I think that pretty much covers it. Thanks for the question. Rich says, I rarely hear it played with those blues scales and licks. Hope you'll touch on your use of them. I also wanted to cover that today. So let's stop at this moment and cover that right after I finish the arrangement, which we're working on. So I got sidetracked by the questions, and it's always nice to get them. So these full voicings, right, from C section. And then we have to move down, take the screenshot off, put the PDF back on. And then we're here. So there's that sort of C major 9 chord with sidestepping to F sharp. And then A7 flat 9. Or this. And here we are at that riff at the end. Now, I doubled the number of bars because I was just kind of trying to set up the solo a little bit better. So I did it, instead of 4 bars, I did 8. So then the question is, how do you apply blues? Well, the first thing is, of course, the simplest thing is the blues scale. If you're not using the blues scale too much, minor is your opportunity. And because in a blues scale, if you're in minor, the flat 3 is already part of the scale. So a lot of times when people think blues, it's a major third, right? So this is F blues. It's got a major third in it because it's an F7 chord instead of a minor chord. But the blues scale has a flat 3. So even if you're playing an F7 chord, it's like an F7 sharp 9 chord. But as soon as you get to minor, it's the most important chord tone, which is the third of the chord, the minor third. So that's why it works really well, because the blues scale is already built into minor. Now all you have to do then is wind up and complete the blues scale, which is this. Flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, 2, 1. One more time. And that's a good practice exercise for those of you that want to get familiar with E minor blues, is to just play that 3-4 riff back and forth to F sharp. Does it get more complicated than that? I think we tend to make things quite complicated. But just sticking to the straight blues scale, and you could run 2 octaves if you wanted to, right? Obviously, you have to get the fingerings right. Maybe I could show you that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then thumb underneath to the B. And then 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't even think about these things. So sometimes I have to stop myself and explain things a little more clearly, but I think that's a good fingerings for that. If you're going up an octave, you have to do this 1, 3, and then thumb underneath back to 1. So like that. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. So coming down is like 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. Thanks, Alessandro. Aquí, tutti. All of something. I didn't get the last part of that. My Italian really is bad. If you write in French, I have no problem, but I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say. Maybe you could translate it for me, just so that I don't have to go to Google Translate at the moment. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to say, Alessandro, but I appreciate the comment. My playing is hot today. Paul, this is a great lesson. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. And another Paul, my namesake, thank you. In the loop you were doing between E minor and F sharp is half diminished? No. All I'm doing is I'm still sticking to E minor. It's just I'm changing the bass note. So F sharp half diminished I mean, it's kind of makes sense, but I'm not playing an F sharp half diminished chord. I'm just sticking to E, and then just an F sharp 10th right here. I'm not thinking, it's just too complicated to do that. This is like an F sharp half diminished chord. I would just stick to E minor and E minor blues. Thanks for the question. Can we use a minor blues for the whole form? Not really. You have to play the tune. So if you wanted to, you could tell your bandmates that instead of soloing over the changes to My Favorite Things, which kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, but you could do it. For example, if I'm playing other tunes that don't have more recognizable forms, like tunes like this, right? Then I might play blues. Right? So, but because you don't really want to get away from the tune too much, I would stick to soloing over the changes to this tune. If you wanted to play blues, you could, but you got to tell the bandmates before you jump into it, because if you're trying to play blues form over those changes, it won't work. I hope that answers that question. So the answer is yes, you can do it. I would stick to the changes themselves. The energy and dissonance you added on the dog bites and bee stings really hit the mark. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, the thing that I really like about the second chord is it's like these hollow fourth voicings, like fourth melody note and like just an added note here, right? And that's what it makes that great sound. Hey, PJ. Good to see you from Poland. My favorite transcriber, my only transcriber. God sent him to me this year. I appreciate everything that you do. Everybody should know that Przemek, which is his, I can't really pronounce his actual name. I've tried it like 100 times. It's like Przemysław or something. But Przemek is what we've decided upon. And he does a great job transcribing. And the Christmas book that you see on the fourth page of your download today, that is a lot of his work, which is really special. So thank you for being here. Do you think it's critic to learn the bebop scales? If yes, how do you suggest to learn it and incorporate that in your playing? Absolutely. The reason why you use bebop scales, and it's a little less so in 3/4 swing, but if you're doing 4/4 swing, it evens the bars out. So for example, the bebop scale for E minor would be this. So there's 4 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then back to 1. So it evens things out. That's why you use bebop scales. But in 3/4 time, it's a little less so because it doesn't even things out, right? So the second one was without bebop scales, the first one was with. So because it doesn't even things out in 3/4 time, it's a little less important. But definitely bebop scales are important. How do you learn them? There's lots of videos on the Jazz Mental channel. Just search for bebop scales and you'll find a lesson or 2 or 3 or 4. I talk a lot about it and it's definitely important. So thanks for the question. But yeah, if you're looking to learn bebop scales, go to the Jazz Mental channel and just search the videos and you'll find lots of corroborating information. Sorry you're late too. Designing Studio. Doesn't the original version switch to a major key? It does switch to a major key. Oh, you mean like the whole tune? No. It starts out in minor but then ends in major. And it gets into G minor a lot. So it goes back and forth between the relative minor and the relative major. And the relationship between the two is pretty cool. Major, back to minor. Major, back to minor. Minor, right? So the relationship between the major and minor is pretty prominent in this tune. It's just you have to think in both keys at the same time as you're going through the tune. Rich says, cheers to PJ, nice. And PJ says, thanks a lot. You're very welcome. You deserve it. Thank you. You're playing amazing. Thank you. Appreciate that. Coltrane vamps in minor, then sometimes major. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do at the end, right? I vamp in major. Or if I'm vamping in minor. So major is from G to D. If I'm vamping in minor, I'm going from E minor and just changing the bass note to F sharp. Listen to this. This is an interesting thought, right? If we're vamping in E minor, check out the blues scale. Now we're going to use the same blues scale for maj. It works for both. So the blues scale is very helpful, definitely, in this tune. Still no sheet music in either Gmail or Yahoo. Oh, you didn't get your sheet music. Lots of people did, Moody. Email me privately. You know my email address, and I'll make sure that you get it. Give it some time, though. I'm wondering if... Well, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't get it. I know the tags are in place and people have already said they've got the sheet music. Can I, by the way, get some more feedback? Who here did not receive their sheet music? And if you did receive it, just say, hey, Paul, thanks. I'd appreciate that. And if you didn't, let me know and I'll look into it a little bit. There's no reason why you shouldn't get it, though. It's not spam to sign up for something and receive it bulk, but anyway, it happens. All right, we've come to the point in the session where I want to do a couple of things. I'm going to play in just a moment, but before I do that, I want to put a notice about today's Jazz for the Holidays transcriptions, which is some of PJ's work that we talked about. The insider's deal, if you look at the last page of your download, which I can actually go to right now, which is here. And you can see that it's like this Jazz for the Holidays and all of those tunes that are in it. These are original transcriptions. And for those of you that have bought it, they've already given me feedback and they love it. So it's your opportunity to grab it. So again, the offer is if you purchase it before tomorrow night, midnight, we're going to give you one of these transcriptions. And I'm about to play a second time. So it's either the first time I play it today or the second time we're going to get PJ to transcribe that whole thing. It's going to end up in the store, but when it gets to the store, it's going to be $30. And that's what we do with our transcriptions because, just ask PJ how much work they are. And we're going to put it in the store, but if you want this for free, just take the coupon code, put it in, get a deal on the transcription book itself, and then we'll add a bonus, which is this week's transcription of My Favorite Things. And you don't have to learn every transcription, but there are definitely ideas in there that would take you 100 years to transcribe and try to figure out. And that's why we try to help in that regard. So thanks to PJ for helping put that book together. I appreciate it. The end reveal is coming up right after I play. I'm going to give you my favorite E minor double stop jazz riff. And let's play the second version of today. We'll see how this one comes out. I'm going to try to think a little bit differently like I always do. And yeah, I think I'll fall for the Christmas book today. It ends tomorrow at midnight. Correct. I'm actually, if you downloaded today's sheet music, I'll send you a reminder tomorrow, but pick it up as soon as you can because we only run these specials when they're available. So this one will be ending tomorrow at midnight. All right. End reveal's coming up. Let's shut off the the audio mic, and let's play a little bit more and see how this turns out. So stick around for the end reveal. I'll be right back. Rich got his Christmas book. Thank you. Ben got his Christmas book. Not sure. I think that's what that means. I appreciate it. Love it. Start scribing, PJ. Yes. First version or second version. By the way, you can always email me, paultoby62@gmail.com. Make sure you put the E before the Y, though. Some people spell my name a little bit incorrectly. It's Tobey. I actually have two first names, Paul Toby. Yes. Email me. Let me know which version you'd like. Listen to the replay. I'll listen to it myself, and I'll get PJ to transcribe whichever one I think is transcription worthy. Let's do the end reveal. E minor double stop jazz riff. Okay. So the interesting thing about all these white notes is that it's easy to slide that flat fifth, right? And so here it is. I like to do this. So the root here and the fourth here, and then I take my third finger and I slide the third finger into the fifth like this. So these two notes are played at the same time, and then slightly afterwards. And then when you do that, you get a sound like this. So put the root on top and then slide that third finger. So that's my favorite double stop for E minor. It's a little bit different when you're playing in F. For example, you can't really do that. You can't slide like that. It's not the same thing. You have to do it differently. But it's just so evident the way the hand works. And it's better to play your hand flat than curled fingers. I don't like curled fingers. It's so much easier to make your hand flat and do this than it is to do this. So throw out whatever your classical piano teacher taught you, which is we're not doing that anymore. We're playing our fingers like this. It's just so much easier, right? And that really lends itself. Look at how flat my hand is on the piano, right? So, and you can do it on this note too. Right? And that's my favorite E minor double stop. It works really well. Nancy, thank you for posting a reminder for the Christmas concert. It's an hour and a half of Christmas tunes. Some of the things that I'm going to be playing are some really cool versions. For example, I'm going to be doing Santa Baby. We've got like up on, got I'll Be Home for Christmas. With some nice changes. We've got Carol of the Bells. Lots of neat arrangements that I've been working on. It's a fun time. It's my 7th annual. Let me put the notice on the screen, the right one. 7th annual Jazz Piano Christmas Concert. We started it 7 years ago, and it's well attended. And I'd love you to join me. I'm inviting this group, and if you can make it, that's great. If not, just watch the replay either the same day or the following day. And yeah, Santa Baby. Thanks, Moody. We'll work on that and the other arrangements, and we'll have some fun with it. I'm actually hosting in the studio here a small group of people as well. So we'll actually have a live audience in addition to the online audience. And if you join us on Zoom, you can become part of the live audience by coming on and chatting a little bit. I'm not going to get to everybody, obviously, because there's hundreds. But yeah, hopefully maybe thousands this year. I'm not sure how that's going to go. We'll see. And I do it every year because, you know me, I love Christmas music. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. For those of you that purchased the Jazz for the Holidays transcriptions book, I appreciate that. I will be getting PJ to work on the transcription, and we'll set him on that immediately as soon as I listen back and figure out which one I'm going to do. And I think that's it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place, same channel here at Jazz Mental. My name is Paul Tobey, and on behalf of myself, Nancy, and the rest of the gang who hang around, Merry Christmas to everybody, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye for now.